hello to everyone on the live stream and welcome to this Meet the Team event from WiredSussex. I'm Reefa, Chief Marketing Officer at WiredSussex. We are a membership organisation that helps digital, media and creative companies. We also run the Fusebox, which is an innovation space in Brighton, mainly for AR and VR startups. We also have a commitment to diversity and helping the digital industry get the best skills and talent through our excellent jobs board, our annual talent festival, and these events. So let's meet the team at NLS. Over to you, Ben.
Hi, Reefa. Thank you for that. Hi, everyone. So who are NLS? Well, we are a digital agency slap bang in the middle of Brighton. We're about 100 yards from the clock tower. There's a 20-strong team here. And the name NLS, originally we were called North Lane Solutions because we were in that area of Brighton, North Lane, which is now just down the road from us. So we've clung on to the name. We're a mix of developers, creatives and client services people. Believe it or not, we have this week celebrated our 18th birthday. So that's the incredible view from our offices. You can see there. We got a fantastic sea view from our 5th floor office. And as part of our 18th birthday celebration this week, we are going to be going for a party at some point very soon. On the call today, we've got myself and 3 members of our team. Aaron, you're first on the list. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you do and how you came to join NLS.
So I joined NLS straight out of university. I got referred by a friend who had applied, and I then applied and got the job. I think they applied via WiredSussex, FYI.
It was.
And so I started work the next day after the interview, and I thought I'd be here for a couple of years. And 10 years later, I'm still here as a full stack developer. So things are obviously going good.
Matt's with us too.
Yep. Hi, I'm one of the designers at NLS. Been here for just over 3 years now. I previously worked in a graphic design agency specialising in advertising, print and branding, and NLS was my move into the world of digital and also my move to Brighton. I originally found the job through WiredSussex, went through the interview process with a slightly informal interview with Ben at a pub in Uckfield. This was done to help me out and sort of save me the drive down. So it was my first experience of NLS going out of its way for its staff. Yeah, that's me.
Amy, slightly different story.
Yeah, hi. So I'm a content producer. I create SEO friendly written content for our clients. But I joined right at the beginning of the year, so I'm as of tomorrow a month in to my employment at NLS, and I was placed by a recruitment company, Uplift, who matched me with the role. I came from an in-house creative team at a big corporate company, so the change has been quite an adjustment, but I'm really enjoying the amount of opportunity and the pace of agency work, learning loads of new stuff, even just a month in. So, yeah.
And obviously, I'm Ben. I'm the MD here at NLS. I started the company in 2004 when I was a freelancer in Brighton, and I found myself with too much work. So I took the plunge, took someone on to help me with that work, and started a company. That person who started that day in 2004, February, is still here. They're the development team leader, Jamie. So yeah, he's still here, amazingly enough. So yeah, back in 2004, things were a bit different. What were we doing in 2004? Well, back then Facebook was just launching at Harvard, and the Nintendo DS had just come out, and the band Busted were massive. So if you don't know who they are, probably best to ask your parents. And Shrek 2 had just come out as well. So back then there was a lot of skepticism about the web, and a lot of our clients would, not understand why they needed to own a digital property. People generally would never buy clothes or a car off the web. And certainly one thing that would never have happened in 2004 is that you would never have hired someone on the basis of a Zoom interview. So it's incredible how much things have changed. Back in 2004, our first client was an organization called Skill Build, and they were a training company promoting construction skills in young people with no qualifications at all. So people with who'd left school with nothing, and they basically put them through trade courses to become electricians and bricklayers and plasterers. And what actually prompted them to get a website back then was that these young people, although they were seemingly not very well qualified for the world of work, they were all using mobile phones and computers at home and laptops, and they were continually pestering this organization to know, why haven't you got a website? Why can't we do the forms through the website? So we actually, our very first project that we worked on was that, and it sort of made a difference to people's lives from the start, and that's something that we've tried to keep going over the previous 18 years. The floppy disk, another thing from 2004 that Matt reminded us of. It was arguably the last year when floppy disks were more prevalent than compact disks, which then gave way to DVDs, etc., etc. Now we have the metaverse. So what do we do today? Oh, sorry. Terrible presentation skills there. What do we do now? Mostly we build websites, we build apps, we build e-learning modules, we build learning management systems, which are systems that house e-learning. We do digital marketing campaigns, and we produce lots and lots of digital content in various shapes and sizes. That's obviously written SEO content, which is something that Amy does, for example, but it's also digital games, animation, all sorts of different digital content to supply to support the projects that we work on. Who do we do it for? So we work with a lot of health tech startups. Those are innovators with technology ideas or technology products that they want to develop or have already developed in the digital health space. We work with a lot of healthcare providers providing digital transformation for them. So what that means in reality is, for example, changing the way your doctor's surgery processes your blood test results and making it more digital, for example. And we work with pharmaceutical companies. We work with global health initiatives. But outside of the health space, we also work with other businesses, for example, organizations in sustainable energy innovation and in environmental compliance. Just to give you a flavor of some of the projects that we're actively working on now, the ones that we're allowed to talk about, of course, on YouTube, because quite a lot of what we do is protected by what's called NDA, which stands for, if you don't know what it stands for, is non-disclosure agreement. What that means is we work on a lot of projects where we're not actually allowed to talk about it. So I'm not going to talk about it. But these are projects that we can talk about. 6 projects that we're working on at the moment. Down in the bottom right hand side here is an app that's yet to launch. Matt, maybe you can tell us a bit more. You've worked a lot on Better You, haven't you?
Yep. So Better You is an app that we're working with NHS Trust in Kent. It's a journaling app aimed at teenagers so that they can securely track their own mental health and well-being. Methodology behind it is based on a system that was developed by this girl, Ellie, or teenager Ellie. who sadly lost her life last year. Her friends and family have put together everything she worked on to basically create this app. And we've worked very closely with the teenagers with various workshops and getting a lot of their input in what they want from the app. So it's been a really exciting project.
Thank you. Yeah, this one up here is the Angels Initiative and Fast Heroes. This is a project that we've worked on for about 6 years. It's based on a website, but it's actually a global health initiative, which is designed to improve and standardize the way that hospitals deal with stroke patients. And the Fast Heroes part of it is aimed at children. It's quite an interesting campaign aimed at children, helping them to recognize when their grandparents might be showing signs of stroke. That's just one part of the program. We've I think got something like 60,000 regular daily users who are all based at about 5,000 hospitals worldwide, and that's a project that we've worked on for 5 or 6 years, and we've got a whole dedicated team here who work on that project, and will continue to do so. We're about to launch a completely new iteration of the whole digital platform. Then up here on the top right, you've got Stornetic. Amy's been working on this, even though she's only been here a month. Maybe you can have a go at telling us about this project, Amy.
Yeah, I think I started on Stornetic on like my 3rd day here. So
Good.
They're one of our clients who've developed some amazing power storage solutions. Obviously, climate change is driving technology. So this client in particular is developing more and more advanced ways to store energy in a clean, renewable way. So their system uses containers filled with frictionless rotating flywheels. I had no idea what those were when I started, but I read up a lot on them. So they don't produce any waste, and they're really easy to maintain. The product's available for any businesses to kind of go off the grid with their energy and kind of have their own energy on site, which is really great for a lot of people, depending on where you are, like remote locations, or if you just want to be a bit more responsible with your business's emissions. So yeah, it's really interesting to write about, and we're launching a website for them this month, which is why I've been so heavily involved in it so early on.
I think what's important to stress about them is it's battery free. So obviously,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the world's sort of energy storage needs are based on batteries, which actually potentially not the cleanest way to go, because batteries are full of heavy metals like lithium and cadmium. This is completely battery free solution, so that's what makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
Down in the bottom left here, we've got this is another project that we're working on. Very interesting project. It's an app for GPs, and it's basically designed to massively speed up the time in which a patient presenting with a dermatology condition, like a lesion or a skin condition of some sort. Doctor takes a picture of the skin condition, uses a special add-on to his iPhone called a dermatoscope, and the system basically, our system that we're building or have built, fires that image into the NHS systems, where it can be reviewed by a consultant much quicker. So potentially, if someone has like a cancerous mole or something like that, you're looking at basically cutting the referral time between normally they would take 6 weeks to get a hospital appointment, an average of 6 weeks, and this is now achieving that referral in 2 days, 48 hours. So obviously there's some massive health benefits there. I won't go into too much more detail about that. Aaron, you've been working on this project up on the left, haven't you?
Yeah, we actually completed it Christmas last year, and it's Albion in the Community. So it's the official charity of Brighton and Hove Albion Football Club, and they deliver loads of football sessions and community support sessions for multitude of people, such as disabled people, and they also do loads of health and wellbeing services around Sussex. And so obviously on this website, like accessibility was quite key, and as well as making it easy for them to update, because it's a living website. It's always got sessions being added to it and news and updates like that, and processing donations and things like that. So we had a really good working relationship with them, because from the beginning, design and dev and client services got to all sit down with them, and we had weekly meetings. So it was quite a nice way to work, and helped them get on board with how we work and us understand what they need more. So yeah, it was quite a nice project to work on.
Awesome. And the last but definitely not least, Matt, this is one for you, isn't it? Bike Hero is a project that we've just launched.
Yep.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Bike Hero was sort of born out of lockdown for a need for remote bike repairs. So basically, Bike Hero will come pick up your bike, take it to their workshop, and you can either collect it or they'll drop it back. And so this is the first phase of this project, which was kind of an MVP e-commerce site. We've still got 3 more phases to follow, where we'll be really sort of nailing down the user journey and improving it, and just getting this slick e-commerce platform for our client to use.
Awesome. Thank you. So Matt used the phrase there, MVP. For anyone listening that doesn't know what that stands for, it stands for minimum viable product. And that's an approach that we take on quite a lot of our projects. And it's very common in producing digital properties. We identify with the client what the absolute minimum they need for something to go live is, so that they can get live quicker and they can start either selling services, as in the case of Bike Hero, or they can start testing their product with their users. And then once the MVP is launched, very often, or in about 100% of cases, we then go into a user research phase where we identify what the next best improvements are, and the product develops there in that way. So hopefully these projects have given you a little idea of what we do, and the kind of things that we get involved in. It's important, I think, to stress that what we do is aligned very much with our own manifesto and our own beliefs. And so what we don't do is often quite as important as what we do. And so, for example, we won't work with clients who don't align with our core beliefs, basically, and we're aiming to work on projects that will create a better, easier, or healthier world in some way. As an example, we have turned down work with some quite big companies that I'm not going to name, but because their ethical stance or some of their activities don't align with our beliefs. So a lot of agencies will say they have a firm set of beliefs, but we're very actively involved in living out our beliefs. I have to confess that it hasn't always been the case. I mean, we've been around for 18 years, and to last that long in business, you do sometimes have to kiss a few frogs. But what happened as we've grown as a business is that we've more and more involved the team into the decision making. And a few years ago, it became apparent that the team here at NLS didn't like working on certain projects for certain clients. And we resolved to refine our business development of what the kind of clients we go after and the kind of projects we like to work on. And now I think we're doing a pretty good job of putting ourselves forward for and winning and selecting projects that fit to our manifesto. So if you haven't worked in an agency before, you're probably wondering what sort of structure the company has. And we have a very straightforward structure. It's a bit of a boring diagram, but I'm going to go through it anyway. What's important is to understand that we basically our 20 people are divided into 3 clear teams, which is client services, who look after clients' needs, and manage projects and manage accounts. The development team, who are basically our builders, our technical developers, very skilled team, all in-house, and our creative team, which includes not just our graphic designers, but also our content producers like Amy, and our e-learning designers, and animators, UX designers, all sorts of different people. But what the purpose of this slide is to demonstrate that actually there is another team structure over the top of this, which is the rather snappy epithet, the cross-functional multidisciplinary team. And the reason I've used this phrase is that it crops up quite often in tenders requirements in this term, and I always think it's a big massive mouthful, and someone should come up with a better name for it, like squad or something like that. But anyway, so we currently have 2 of these teams, and kind of the reason we're doing this presentation today is that we're actively recruiting a 3rd team because our clients have given us more and more work. We've won some new clients, we're expanding, we're on a growth curve, and we definitely will launch team 3 in Q1 this year, and we have plans to launch a 4th team in 2022 as well. So that's how we're structured. As it happens, Amy, Aaron, and Matt are all in the same team. There's nothing wrong with the other team. It's just that we didn't actually pick any of them to be on this call with you. So it's also worth while we're talking about sort of the internal workings of the agency, it's worth talking about how we work. And there's just one word that describes how we work, which is agile. If you're looking to get into the digital or creative or marketing or digital space at all in Brighton, but generally in the UK and generally globally, agile is the approach that is become the predominant way of delivering services, developing products, and working with clients to deliver the best end result. And if you don't know about agile, that is your starting point, really. Get onto YouTube, get onto LinkedIn Learning, or get onto Udemy is another site that we use quite a lot, and find out as much as you can about agile ways of working. There's no one pure definition of it. It's really more about a mindset and certain processes. And these are the 4 key points of the Agile Manifesto. They value that whilst the text in white is still important, the text in dark blue here is valued over it. So individuals and interactions are valued over processes and tools. Working software is valued more than comprehensive documentation. Customer collaboration is much more valuable than contract negotiation. I think the guys in describing the projects we work on have already highlighted how important that is. And responding to change is more important than following a plan. And that last one really gives you a very strong insight into how we work. And what that means is that when we get a project in, we're not planning out a 6-month delivery cycle. We're planning out the first month. We're defining where we want to be in 6 months and then working on the first couple of weeks or the first month. I mean, agile is very sometimes a bit nebulous in the way it's described. But I mean, perhaps Aaron, what do you think? What does agile mean to you in your job as a developer day to day?
Well, so for me, mainly, it's probably how we work with our clients and as a team. So we'll start off projects all together as a kind of cross-functional team, and we're working with the client every step of the way and always checking in with them. So if we finish a part of like a sprint of work, they're signing it off and checking in and adjusting to their needs, rather than finishing off a whole project, giving it to the client, and then getting that dreadful email back saying it's not quite what we want, and starting again. So this way, we can respond quicker, and it's less
Brilliant.
irritating.
Yeah, we don't want to receive those emails ever again, do we? So back in 2004, we used to get a lot of those emails because we was working with people we were second guessing what they wanted. We were giving our best effort, producing something, and then they would show it to their friends and say, "It looks nice, but can we have it in green?" So that doesn't happen anymore. I'm very happy to say. Matt, what does agile mean for a designer?
Yeah, so as Aaron already touched on, it means that we get to have regular contact with the clients. This allows us to work in a very iterative design process, and work with the client on creating the designs and not just waterfalling the designs at the end.
Yeah.
Also, recently we've been working with an atomic design process. This means taking the smaller atoms and molecules that make up the site. So things like CTA buttons and just
call to action,
the building blocks that make it all up, which ties back into the iterative design. We can really focus on those, get those right, get the client to sign off on those, and they're ready to build the site, which is great.
Fantastic. Amy, what about your work? Does that fit agile?
So at face value, producing content, like written content, agile doesn't affect my work too much, but as a part of an agile team, I can see it's really useful for me because I can see every aspect of the project. I get to meet the client regularly, and I also get that overview of what the project's all about. And since joining the business very recently, obviously, it's been really useful for me to have this model in place because it's helped me to understand process and also what's expected of me.
Great, thank you. So there you go. That's a flavour of how agile kind of touches the different roles in the company. Like I say, if you don't know what it is, find out fast. One of the other questions that we get asked a lot by people at interview or anyone interested in the company is what software tools we use and what platforms, etc., etc. We use a lot of tools. This might be one for you, Aaron, to explain.
Yeah, so we obviously every agency has like core competencies and core skills in the things they use the most. So like we have Drupal, WordPress, React, Laravel. But generally speaking, we don't like to kind of tie ourselves down to one tool. We kind of just pick whatever fits the project best. And because we get some of that choice, it allows us to kind of like choose some of like the more emerging technologies. And it never kind of gets stale where we're just creating WordPress site after WordPress site after WordPress site. It kind of mixes it up a bit. And because we're also quite a creative agency, we get to use some kind of fun technology sometimes where like certain times we make things for events and we've created things where we balance boards to control a character on screen, or Microsoft Connects to interact with your hands to change pages. So yeah, so it's a bit of a mix, which is quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
So metaverse, here we come then, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, like as Aaron says, that this is one of the questions that people, especially developers, but not only developers, often ask us. And we are, to use a bit of a cheesy phrase, we're technology agnostic, but we're always we spend a lot of our time evaluating new technologies and working out how we can bring advances in those technologies to bear to solve our clients' problems and issues. So that effectively is a little bit about us. And I guess probably what we wanted to do next is talk about why anyone would want to come and work with us.
Why?
Oh. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of good stuff, don't worry. So when we did a bit of introspection before we made this presentation, which we do quite a lot, and one of the things, the biggest thing that we came up with is team spirit and our working culture. We got really, really strong, despite this array of mugshots. We have a really strong team culture. A lot of agencies will say that. That's fair enough. It's very popular in agencies to develop team spirit. But collaboration is absolutely central to everything we do, and indeed it's one of our 4 values as a company. As I've already touched on, we always value the team over the individual, and what we are is there's no runaway heroes at NLS. Really, everyone is evaluated and judged and celebrated and rewarded on the basis of team performance. And as we've already shown, there's a team structure to the company, so it's very easy to be able to identify the teams responsible for success when it happens to us. We've got a relatively flat structure in the agency. Like, quite a lot of agencies of 20 plus people start to develop quite hierarchical management systems, and we're aware of that, and we're on an active path to avoid that. There is management, obviously there's a senior management team, but beyond that, most people have everyone has very clearly defined roles and very clearly defined objectives and against which their performance is evaluated. We're very open with the team as well. As a company, I regularly present all hands presentations to the team, in which I'm very open about how the business is doing, in terms of how we're growing, how we're doing in terms of profit, what our plans for recruitment are, what the problems have been over the last couple of quarters, what the ambitions are for the coming couple of quarters. So we strongly believe in that kind of open ethos between the kind of senior management team and the rest of the company. And not only that, we actively encourage engagement from below. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a second. Sorry, below is the wrong word. I mean from the team. So we're office based. One of the big questions that all agencies are asked at the moment is, are you open to fully remote working? Right now, we're open-minded about whether or not we all come back to the office all of the time, or whether some of us come back to the office all of the time, and any permutation of those. We have a great office space. We've got an open office. We've got small collaboration spaces, quiet spaces, but generally we've got an open office culture, and but we're also very family-friendly company. So many of us have got kids. Some of us have got too many to handle, and so, for example, a lot of people have flexible working arrangements with the company to cater for various family-based needs. We're very open to that kind of arrangement, as long as it's delivered in agreement with the company. Very diverse team coming from a lot of different backgrounds, and also we're very open to an increasing level of helping out in other ways. So, for example, in 2021, we launched a employee assistance program, which is completely independent from the company, which offers everyone at NLS things like over the phone GP appointments and access to family law helplines and things like that, and lots of other things that would be useful to the team in everyday life. And we have other plans to develop that further in 2022. We've also got an independent HR team who have worked with us for many years, very well known to the team. So what we purposefully separated our HR function out from the company. They're independent of NLS, and they're there. There's 2 of them, Kay and Dom. They are there to help our team address and overcome any issues they have with their employment or in their personal life or anything like that that's to do with work, and that works really well. We get really good feedback from the team on that. And how do we know that works well? Well, actually, because we collect a lot of feedback from the team. Every quarter, the HR team run a completely anonymous staff survey, and the completely anonymous findings are collected. And as a senior management team, we assess them and we make hard decisions and come to good informed conclusions about how well we're doing for our people as a company. And obviously, it's great to hear positive feedback, and there is positive feedback. And on screen right now are some of the genuine quotes. Obviously, we don't know who said it, but they are genuine quotes. I'm hoping one of these is you, Aaron. I can hear you chuckling in the background. But also, let's be realistic. We're not a perfect company, and any company that says they're a perfect company is lying to you. So there's always something you can do better. And arguably, from my perspective, what's more important than hearing we're doing a good job is hearing about where we can improve. And so here's some real things that people told us in the last staff survey. Now, because some of these don't paint us in a fantastic light, but, lots of agencies are busy, and lots of agencies, people who work in agencies, want more flexibility. And so what this does is this gives us clear pointers as a management team on where the company's got to improve. And we're very open with the team about this feedback, and we share our plans with the team on how we're going to make things better working at NLS. And hopefully that is something that the guys can hold us to. I don't know what anyone on this call, any of the guys on the team here think about that, but has anyone got any observations about how things might have changed because of the staff engagement?
Well, we've definitely been recruiting more and more people because we had a weirdly busy period towards the end of last year, and we all kind of pulled through. But I think
we got
from
through
the stress. We hired more people. We've got, I don't know,
absolutely
at least 3 more devs.
So so that's a great one to highlight, Aaron. So it came out in the staff survey. I mean, we all knew that we were having a super busy time and things were getting a bit stressy. We sat down as a management team and thought, what can we do about this? Well, obviously we can get more resources in, which is why we're recruiting. But also, we also looked at our planning and our business development process. And we looked ourselves in the mirror and said, yeah, you know what, we've been taking on a bit too much. We need to take on less. We need to have better insight into what resources we've got and when we can deliver projects. And we've done that. And hopefully that will produce a much more measured amount of work for our team to do and make that problem go away. Anyone else got any other observations? I mean, flexible hours we've introduced. Sorry, go on, Amy.
I was just going to say, from my perspective as a new person, there's so much opportunity to share feedback, even from my first day. I haven't been a part of the company survey yet because it's done quarterly. If I'm correct,
you are correct.
Still learning the ropes, and but I just found it really helped me to feel empowered with raising my thoughts on how things are done here. And for an 18-year-old business, that isn't a given. It just shows the culture here is so open to change, and the business really wants to know how things can be done better. So it's a really great environment.
Absolutely, it is a cliche, but our people are definitely our best asset here, and we are absolutely committed to getting the most business value out of the great team that we've got, and that even includes you, Aaron. Just kidding, mate. You know we love you.
It really shows.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, everyone's going to ask, if you're thinking about joining a company like NLS, what can we do for you? So, competitive salary. Everyone says that. To back it up, so we have all our roles get benchmarked independently by a third party on a half-yearly basis, and that is we make no bones about it. We don't pay at the absolute very top of what's available, and we don't pay at the very bottom. We're competitive. We're in the median range. But what we do is we top up that salary with an annual bonus scheme, and that is based on the company, going back to the collective ethos, it's based on all of us delivering the company goals. And so, for example, in 2022, we have 5 company goals like we do every year. And for example, one of them is around improving our marketing. One of them is around continuing our growth and profitability. One of them is around improving our people. That's training and development, and so on and so forth. And also everyone here is being encouraged to take control of their own careers by taking advantage of the personal training budget that's available. For example, Amy, you've got a story to tell around that, haven't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, from the first week I got here, I was already booked on 2 training courses, and I had tickets for Brighton SEO in my name. So that's just, it was amazing to come into. And it was obviously part of the reason. I knew it from my interview, from speaking to Ben ahead of starting at NLS, but it was part of the reason I wanted to be a part of the team. I knew there would be huge amounts of personal development opportunities, and even within my role, I'm being given the autonomy to kind of explore different avenues of content and even project management projects. So
Sure. But you're not being, you won't, just to be clear, you won't be made to do that if you don't feel it's a fit for
no,
your
of
skills.
course not. No.
So really, what we're doing for you is we're giving you the chance to investigate a few things that are kind of around the edges of your job description,
For sure.
to see whether those doors open a little bit for you. And
Yeah,
that's very much, sorry, go on.
Sorry, and that was something I was looking for when I was looking for work.
Sure,
so
exactly. And
I found it in NLS, definitely.
Well, that stood out at your interview. I mean, if to break up the one-to-one that we're having right now and go back on topic.
I'll write notes.
But something else that's very important to us is your career planning and your personal development. And again, lots of agencies will say this, but I've got an example. We are really hot on staff retention here at NLS, and every so often people leave, and that's fine. They have ambitions. Their ambitions lie elsewhere, or their circumstances change, whatever it is. But we work really hard to keep our team together. And I'll give you an example. We have a guy here who a couple of years ago, he was working as a project manager, and he'd done very well at interview, and he had a great track record in a previous agency as a project manager. But as he developed in himself, it became clear that he had interests outside of project management, and actually the quality of his project management started slipping. And so we talked to him, and it turned out that what he really wanted to get into was e-learning. And so rather than just saying, great, go and get yourself an e-learning job, what we said to him was, okay, well, we will help you source retraining, and we'll sponsor some of it, and we'll give you time out of your week to do that course at work, as long as you carry on doing this bit of project management for us 4.5 days or 4 days a week. We'll give you that extra day a week, and what we'll do is we'll work with you to try and see how the company can leverage these new skills. And now he's basically the head of our e-learning team. So I can't guarantee that that's going to happen to everyone, but the point I'm making is that everyone is it's important that everyone understands that they're on a personal development journey at NLS. So I'm conscious that I've been rabbiting on for ages. No one likes that. Like I said, I've already mentioned that we go the extra mile to look after our team. So I'll skip over that slide. And we're just as proud of our staff retention rate as we are of the client retention rate. And we're pretty sure that the two are related. So to wrap up, really, what I wanted to just highlight was who are we looking for, and what do you need to be part of our pixelated hydrogen-powered DeLorean-driven future? Well, we are first and foremost looking for people who are going to fit our culture. We want people to come and join the team and stay. Don't have to, of course, but that's what we want. We want to give you a long, fulfilling career with NLS. We're looking for people who like working collaboratively in a team. We don't want lone wolves riding their own line. And we want people who are focused on the quality of the work that goes out the door. That's the number one thing that we're looking for, is people who, with attention to detail, commitment, belief, and a commitment to quality. Skills, technical skills can be trained. No one arrives perfect for a role. So as we've shown, we've got a lot of commitment to training and development on our team. But fundamentally, we're looking for people with either experience or passion, or both, ideally. Just a very quick bit about the application process. When you see our ads on WiredSussex and you think that looks like the job for me, and you click on it, what will happen is you'll go straight into an applicant tracking system. So we'll be aware of you straight away. If we want to speak to you, we'll have an initial 15-minute conversation over Teams or Zoom or something with you, just to check the chemistry is right. And then after that, we'll invite you into the office for a face-to-face interview. And obviously that will be COVID safe, but we really do believe the strength of face-to-face relationships. There may be a test of some sort. You're a developer, and that would be followed by an offer. And if you accept our offer, then what would then happen is we'd start preparing you for you to join NLS. And in Amy's case, and in everyone who joins NLS case, what will happen is we'll email you a starter pack, a new starter pack, and in it that will have loads of information about your first day at NLS. It'll have a timetable for the first couple of weeks, and then when you join, you will have a clear plan of what you're doing for the first 2 weeks, an induction plan. And that induction plan includes meeting the rest of the team, understanding our processes, being trained on the systems we use, and just generally embedding you into the company. And although Amy said earlier on that she was on Stornetic on day 3, I think you would probably doing about 25% work and 75% induction for the first couple of weeks. So it's really, we'll go the extra mile to try and embed people into the company. So then obviously we wouldn't be doing this if we weren't hiring, but we are. These are the jobs we've got at the moment, but that is going to change in the next few days and weeks. That I think is what we've got to say. So Reefa, how was that? How have we done for time? Oh my gosh, I've overshot my miles. So sorry.
Not at all. Thank you so much. You've given us a great overview of the team, of the culture, excellent team spirit. That will stay with me, that slide. And almost makes me want to, no, I'm not going to go digital project management.
Yeah,
but
that's you.
Really, I really love that slide that you showed of like the structure as well, because that is something that people really need to understand, you know, that the especially for developers and designers, the collaborative nature of what we do is not that you're in a production chain. You're in a room where all of your professional people with something to contribute throughout the process. So it's really, really good to hear. And yeah, it's fantastic that you're growing and that you've got more jobs in the pipeline. So if people can start having a relationship with you now, you know, if they apply now and maybe have an interview with you, that maybe there's other things that might come up for you in the future, maybe.
Sure.
I've got a few questions for you.
Sure.
We've got some time. How important do you think Brighton is in or the Brighton digital sector is for you and the team?
That's a good question. So our clients come from all over, actually. So we've got clients in the Netherlands, in Germany. We deal regularly with people in South America, in Australia, in South Africa. And I think, obviously, the digital world is a kind of frictionless trade, borderless world these days, you know. But nevertheless, there's, as I just said a minute ago, there's nothing like face to face sometimes. And we as a company, when we started, we kind of kept away from the Brighton scene. I don't know why, but we did. And in the last few years, we got more and more involved in it. And what we've actually found is that it's a hugely supportive network out there. And there's loads of people in Brighton. I mean, Aaron and I are both Brightonians, and Matt's from Sussex, Amy's from just across the border in Surrey. We haven't done this deliberately, but you know, a lot of us are from Brighton, and the network, the resources and the support from the people in Brighton and kind of the hinterland of Brighton, which now does include places like Worthing and Eastbourne and the kind of up to Gatwick, is just incredible. So I would say it's very important, but it's not the be all and end all.
Excellent. I mean, we've got so many people moving down since lockdown and everything, and understanding that there is support here, and it is quite different. And obviously, we work with so many different creative companies that freelancers come down here to start business, but they may end up working for you in different capacities.
Sure.
I love that as well, that you've got the team involved with the decision-making process as well. So, I mean, if somebody's been out of the industry for a while, maybe they've been away to have kids, or for whatever reason, they're coming back to the industry. Do you have any tips for like getting them back up to speed?
Yeah, I guess obviously, as I said, if you're not familiar with Agile, then I would do that as a priority. The best thing you can do is get up to try and embed yourself in the industry in terms of what projects have go and look at awards sites. There's loads of digital awards sites now from, you Google it, UK Digital Awards, and you'll get probably 25 different award schemes. And then just go and look at the projects that have won best app or best website or best customer experience, stuff like that, and just immerse yourself in what the absolute best practice in the industry is this day and age. The chances are that a smaller agency in Brighton will probably not be doing that hugely massive award-winning work, although a lot of Brighton agencies do win those great awards. But it's really what we would be looking for is someone who can actually walk the walk when they talk about what's new in the industry and what people have done that's amazing. By the same time, sorry, go on, Aaron. No,
I was
please
just
go.
going to say, I would suggest that tinkering around. So, like, if you're for development, for example, just play around with technology, get accustomed to it, kind of learn by doing. Like, you don't have to necessarily have loads of experience in a professional capacity, but kind of just getting your own projects together, playing around, getting more comfortable with it definitely helps.
Absolutely, 100%. You can look if you want to know what a good developer's project. You should look at Wordle, which was bought by the New York Times this week for more than £1 million. That was a developer project for his girlfriend in lockdown. Right now, obviously, I'm not saying go out and develop a Wordle because it's brilliant. I don't know if you guys play it. I do. It's really frustrating and edifying at the same time. But this guy, it was a developer's project, and he did it for his girlfriend and put it online. And back in, I think, September, there were only 90 players, and now there's like millions and millions playing this game daily. And like I said, it's just been bought by the New York Times this week for more than $1 million. They didn't tell us how much it was, but so what Aaron says, basically, do a little project, show us what you got, and even however good or bad it is, be able to talk through it.
Brilliant.
I think as well that there's so many resources available now to learn and develop your skills, from Udemy, Lynda, and all of those, to even just YouTube. Like, learning has never been as accessible as it is now.
Absolutely, yeah.
So true.
Absolutely.
Well, let's face it, Facebook was a side project, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was at Harvard. He was kind of like, he had a pretty good starting ground. Yeah.
He really did. Sorry, taking it down a level. I love that. It sounds like you're all learning. You'll always be learning at NLS, which is fantastic. And I think we're probably coming to the end now of this session. I mean, it's whizzed by. It sounds like you're all super enthusiastic about your work. It sounds very meaningful work, which is what we hear all the time from job seekers, is that, of course, developers want to work at designers, producers. We want to work on interesting projects and meaningful to our communities and our health and our the environment itself, our planet, I was going to say.
Yeah.
So I think this is a lovely company to work for, and thank you all so much for your honesty and for being so open. So thank you so much to Ben and Aaron and Matt and Amy, and thank you to everyone at NLS. And we'll put the links up as well in the chat. Thank you to the WiredSussex team for helping with that. And yeah, get on the wiredsussex.com/jobs site to have a look at all the jobs that NLS are hiring for at the moment. Is there any last thoughts or words?
No, thanks very much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Reefer.
You're more than welcome.